Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome back to the pod. As you can see, we've got a guest with us today that we are so stoked about.
Yes.
So this is Miss Avery from Chiller Queen podcast.
Yes.
You may also recognize her from 90 Day Fiancé as the super badass on that show.
The only one that mattered on the show, really.
Like Big Ed who, we don't care. We've got Avery. So
no neckhead. Like what?
Yes. Yes. So let's start. Avery. Well, actually, we do have a question for you before we have you do your introduction.
Absolutely.
What is your actual last name?
It's Warner. I don't like to say it much because it reminds me of my ex-husband.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, just never changed the last name after the divorce. So that's why I'm always like, I'm Avery. Last name doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I'm like,
well, we're just putting you on the spot today.
Yeah, we're putting you on the spot, and I'm clearly a fucking idiot because...
No.
Did you realize the package that you got from us, what the last
Dope
name
Cook.
was? Okay.
Dope Cook.
Yeah.
It's okay. That's what people refer to me as, Avery Dope Cook. And I laugh every time. I'm like, this is great. I love it.
So when we Googled you for some reason, we Googled because I was telling her stuff about 90 Day Fiancé, and I go, wait a second, her last name is not Cook. Yeah. And then I was like, wait, what does it say on your Instagram?
And then it's like Avery Rash.
Yeah.
And then Warner comes up. So we're like, what the fuck? Like, what
I don't like a lot of people to know information about me, because I'm like, it got a lot of secrets and stuff.
Yes.
Actually, you know why they call me Dope Cook?
Yeah, because you cook dope.
Yeah, I cook with dope. Not just a dope cook, guys. I cook with dope.
I love that. That's amazing.
And I also, my maiden last name is Roch, like crotch without the C.
Not Rash.
So that's also kind of, like, I don't want to like be like Avery Roch or Rash or Radish, like what everyone calls me. So I'm Avery Dope Cook.
I love it.
Yeah, I love it.
So
you should like change your name and just go by
Dope Cook.
You really
Dope
should.
Cook.
Yeah, that works.
I mean, a lot of people already think it's that, and I'm like,
I
cool with that.
I did it. I'm guilty. That is me.
I'm just glad the package actually arrived and the postman wasn't like, who the hell is this?
Who the hell? Send back to sender.
Yeah. So, okay, now that we got that out of the way, please tell us
about you and the podcast.
Yes.
And
Well, I am Avery, Dope Cook. I used to be in dentistry for a long time until I went on to 90 Day Fiancé before the 90 Days, season 4, if you guys want to check that out. And then I was on B90 Strikes Back after that. It's just a lot of trash TV. It's the best thing ever if you want to feel good about yourself. But then after that, I kind of did my own thing because I got canceled off of television. And, just
all the best people do. It's fine.
right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm very controversial and I like being a little feisty. So I got canceled off television. Now I do my own thing. I'm an influencer. I'm an entrepreneur. I have my own crypto company. And I have my own podcast called the Chiller Queen Podcast, which I recently started. And that goes over conspiracy theories, bizarre true stories, and I also dive into true crime, which is why I was really excited to collaborate with you ladies.
Oh, we're so excited.
Podcast.
Yes.
We don't touch too much on conspiracy unless it involves crime yet. And so that's what like when we found your podcast, it was like, everything we suck at. So
everything that we wish to be.
Yeah. Well, that is so exciting. We're literally so pumped to have you on here. You're only our second collab, and I mean, it's a home run. So
it really is.
I love it.
All right.
We both
Alrighty.
enjoy true crime and wine. So
Yeah.
Hey, what more could you ask for?
Here we are.
What more could you ask for? So speaking of wine,
Speaking of, so we are, little merch plug, drinking out of our Something Spiked wine tumblers, and we are enjoying this bottle. It's gone now. We were. It's the Resident. It's red wine, and it's from our favorite Scout and Cellar,
Yes.
who we have talked about before. They are great. They are sulfate, sugar, bad shit free.
yes, no hangover wine.
Well, I like to test that limit, but
We might tonight.
it's supposed. So, Avery, what are you sipping on?
Yes, what is your something spike?
okay, you guys are gonna laugh at me. Okay, I'm actually a wino, so don't be surprised when I tell you what I'm sipping on, because people will be like, "Wow, is this your first time drinking wine?"
Please tell
I'm
me it's
actually
not
sipping
Moscato.
on Riesling.
Okay.
Okay.
See, Riesling is good. I
Yeah.
love Riesling.
I was expecting you to say, like, barefoot Moscato.
Yeah, I was too. No, Riesling is good.
That's actually a really good Riesling, too. I had that.
Yep.
Yeah, Kung Fu Girl. It's a great bottle of Riesling. Riesling's just—it's sweet and it goes down so easy and quick.
does.
And that's what we're here for.
Zinfandel is a hard second. I love. Oh, and if you guys need a good recommendation on a nice red blend,
Yeah.
drink The Devil You Don't Know.
I've never heard of that.
Ooh.
Have you
It is
No, I haven't heard of it.
phenomenal.
But I want it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we also like to pick out sometimes drinks that are associated with the podcast.
Yes.
So we do a lot of like 19 crimes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's like a really cool one. 'Cause
Yeah.
you can put your phone up to it and it will talk to you.
And it moves, which is
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever done Snoop
Yeah.
Dogg? See what his does?
No, I haven't, but we should. It's
Next
probably
time.
like
Yo.
Wait,
for
Snoop
shizzle.
Dogg has a wine?
he
did
has a 19 crimes wine. He has
Yeah.
a rosé and a red blend, and they are bomb.
Mm-hmm.
We drink them all the time.
Nice.
Yeah, very good.
America's Most Wanted.
You.
Snoop D-O-double-G. I'm pretty sure we practiced that like
This
10
is where we
times
enter
on
the
this
music.
podcast.
No, 100%. 100%.
All right. Well, at the start of the podcast, we took a
Yes.
drinking word.
Yes, we do.
So, Avery, I know I don't want to put you on the spot. I know you don't know exactly what story we're doing. So, do you have a drinking word in mind that's murder associated, or do you want us to just wing it?
What about? Well, I think. How about? Man, this is tough. I don't do this normally. So, what are your guys's? Yeah, I'm gonna let you guys decide.
So,
I was thinking.
I was gonna say bludgeoned, but like
You want to say
that's
that
probably
again?
not gonna come up very often. I really want to drink, so
let's do strangle.
Yes,
Strangle is a
Oh,
word
so
highly
strangulation case.
associated with this guy.
Yeah.
okay.
All right.
Strangulation case. Okay.
So, if you're 21 and older, sip along, and if you're not, then get the fuck out and go drink your baba. Like,
yeah, you shouldn't be on this podcast
Yeah.
anyway. Okay.
exactly.
We are
Try a new one.
drinking and we are cussing. All right. All right. So, our videos and podcasts are for entertainment purposes. All information discussed is found on the internet. Keep in mind, we'll talk all things sinister that may not be suitable for all audiences. Viewer and listener discretion is advised.
Boom.
So, we are doing this episode a little bit different. Normally, one of us tells the story and the other one reacts, but guess what? 50-50. These Sinister Sisters are splitting it right down the middle. So, we are talking about Henry Louis Wallace. He is a Charlotte, North Carolina native.
Yes.
So,
That's from where I am.
yes.
We're kind of breaking the mold. He's out of our current zodiac sign, but
is.
in honor of you, Avery, we're like, okay, North Carolina, and this
We've
guy
got to do
was
it.
like, woo woo, red flags.
Red flag. So, Avery, have you heard of him?
I have heard of him.
Okay.
Good.
Okay. Perfect. So,
I don't actually know
Henry-
a ton about him, but I've heard of him, so I'm excited to hear about this.
Perfect. Yay. So Henry Louis Wallace, a.k.a. the Taco Bell Strangler, serial killer who killed 10 women in Charlotte, North Carolina from May 1992 to March 1994.
He has my heart, honestly, with Taco Bell.
You should get a pass.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested how Taco Bell plays into this.
It actually plays into it a lot.
It does. It plays into it a lot. It's kind of wild.
Yeah.
So currently we're in May, so we're in the Taurus season, the best season ever.
Stop.
But we are going back to
One second. My dog's head is in a bag of chips.
The bag of shit?
Literal shit.
Okay. I'm back.
That is hilarious.
I just looked over and her head is in a bag of chips.
Oh, shit.
Oh, did you say a bag of shit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm honestly questioning why you just have a bag of shit sitting
Gross.
around.
You know, I'm just really lazy. I don't like to throw her shit bag away. So
Right.
Set this here. Safekeeping.
Right. Oh, shit.
Okay.
All right.
Good.
So he
Blah, blah, blah. Taurus season. What season are we in now?
Shut up. So we are now going to the Scorpio season. So he was born November 4th, 1965 in Barnwell, South Carolina to a woman named Lottie Mae Wallace. Now, before we talk about his childhood and all of that fun stuff, I am going to bounce over to Scorpio. Little tidbit here, and we're kind of going to talk about it. Okay. So, as we know, Scorpios are crazy. But Cadence found a lot of good statistics here. So, I'll go ahead and let you talk about the Scorpios.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, there are 46 Scorpio serial killers. They make up 38% of all the serial killers, according to some website. So,
and she says in parentheses, don't fact check.
Yeah. Don't quote me on that, but supposedly. They are passionate, they're independent, they're secretive, and they let their feelings really drive them. And we love Times of India. It's
we really do.
Random website that we use all the time.
Yeah.
So their quote is, they are very dark, and by dark we mean pitch black. They are brave, powerful, cat-like when it comes to control and manipulation, and if they murder, you will call them sadists.
Ooh.
So
watch out.
Yeah, when we talk about Scorpios,
they give no fucks.
We talking about the bad guys. Back to you, Alexa.
All right.
Wait, okay, so I'm terrible with the astrology aspect. Scorpios are born when?
November. Well, he was born November 4th, but I believe it starts like October 21st through November 13th or 17th or something like that.
Gotcha.
So what is your astrological sign?
Yeah, when's your birthday?
I am a Cancer.
We haven't covered Cancers yet.
We're not there yet.
So don't murder anyone, and we won't cover you during that season.
Okay.
Or you can, and we can.
Well, I wouldn't get caught because I know a lot about crime. So, like, I know what not to do.
Pretty good at murder.
Yeah, you know, speaking of
I thought about murdering my ex-husband, but that's too obvious. So
yeah, for sure.
You can't do that. You can't murder a spouse. It's got to be like was random, or you can't be like connected to them in any way.
Yeah,
I know. And he's the only one who would drive me to murder. So it's like, what do you do?
Right.
You just move away to North Carolina.
Someone. I mean, move away.
Right.
I meant move away.
I mean, move away. So you just don't have that trigger. So.
All right. So good old Henry. He was born to a woman named Lottie Mae Wallace. Lottie was having an affair with a school teacher in Barnwell, South Carolina, and she became pregnant. And obviously this was out of wedlock, and this was back in the 1960s, 1965. And he was married. And the man found out that she was pregnant, and he was like, sorry about you. I don't really care. And so, she became a single mother. She worked a lot. And he did have an older sister too, and she didn't know her dad either. But they lived with their great-grandmother, so his great-grandma, mom, sister, and Henry in the home. And in the home, they were very, very poor. They rarely had electricity or running water. So you can kind of see a little bit about his childhood and where he could potentially become a serial killer. Well, it gets better. Mom was rarely home, and when she was home, she was very verbally abusive to the kids and very manipulative. I read a story about a time where the kids were bad, they didn't do their chores, and she was exhausted because she had worked like 2 or 3 jobs, that day. And instead of disciplining the kids, she made the kids go out to the tree, pick switches, and beat each other.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Do you think they were like, hey, you get a small one and I'll get a small one? Or do you think they were like vindictive children and they're like, I'm going to find the biggest fucking stick?
I don't know. I would hope they would find the smallest little switch, but who knows?
Yeah, that's like so sad. When I was spanked when I was younger, my parents would ask me how many I wanted, and I'd always choose the maximum because I was just a spiteful little child.
Right.
But
you're challenging them.
Yeah, but that's crazy. That's What a
My parents just used guilt tactics and gave me emotional trauma. But other than that,
I honestly sometimes I'm like, I think mental trauma is worse than physical trauma.
Yeah,
sometimes.
There comes a time whenever you're old enough and you fake cry whenever you get spanked because it's like, okay, I know this is going to be over and it really doesn't hurt. But yeah, I definitely agree. I think mental trauma. Were you never spanked as a kid?
Nope.
I can tell.
See, we are in the genre that we still got spanked as children, but like the next genre is like, no, we never got spanked, and we're so entitled to everything.
Look how much better we are because I wasn't beaten as a child. It's like, okay,
that's abusive and like spread love and kindness, okay?
Yeah.
Like,
I also know how to work a 60-hour work week, so
yes.
I also
know,
how to do
right?
my taxes, barely.
Yeah, you're welcome. Barely.
I could go on.
Anyway, so had a terrible childhood, to be honest. It's actually quite sad. They were very poor, and obviously, like I said, he had an older sister. Mom and grandma, clearly grandma didn't really work, but mom couldn't afford clothes for Henry as he got older and as he grew. So unfortunately, he had to wear his older sister's hand-me-downs to school. So thankfully, they weren't really like girly or anything. Why are you choking?
It's fine. Your dog's getting pets from me.
Yeah, it's okay. Thankfully they weren't like girly clothes and just like jeans and t-shirt type thing, but still, like he had to wear his, older sister's hand-me-down. So went to Barnwell High School there in South Carolina, and he was a cheerleader. He was actually pretty popular too at school. Mom would not allow him to play football for some odd reason, so he's like, fuck it, I'll just be a cheerleader. Since I want to be at all the football games.
She let him do cheerleading, but not football.
Yeah, it's very strange.
Very progressive.
Very progressive.
Very progressive.
She's like, I'll beat the shit out of you, but those other boys, hell no.
Right. So he became a cheerleader. He graduated then in 1983, and he went to South Carolina State College. He was only enrolled at South Carolina State for about a year and a half due to disciplinary reasons, and he didn't really like school. He worked as a DJ at a radio station, but he was shortly fired after getting caught stealing CDs from the radio station. So 2 years later, he joined the U.S. Navy, and you know what they say, it's always the ones joining the military
in
that
the
are...
Navy? Oh. I thought that's what they always say.
Yeah, keep going.
No. I'm not singing on this podcast.
Okay, right. But it's always, I feel like it's always the craziest serial killers, like, that are the ones that are in the military. Like, why, or, like, law enforcement.
It's like if you're a serial killer and you're like, I want to kill people, but I want to do it legally.
Right.
It's like, why don't I just join the military?
Right.
And then I can, like, have at it.
Like a mental check?
Yeah,
like,
that too. A mental check.
They don't let you have visible tattoos, but you're a psychopath? Here's your form.
You're in.
Yeah, they're like, dude, you're perfect.
You're going to love this job.
You're a narcissist?
Yeah,
You're
like there's so
sociopath?
much killing. You're going to have so much fun.
Right.
So much blood. It's so great.
It's great.
That's awful.
So, 2 years later, in
Actually, I'm going to interrupt you for a second. I actually wonder how many serial killers are in the military
Currently?
who just kill people.
We should just ask
You
them.
know?
Yeah, let's just ask.
What are the statistics on that?
I bet it's a lot because a lot of them are narcissists and they can lie their way to that point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
And a lot of them are very antisocial, like
sociopathic people.
Weird, but like they do come back and they're different and they're like very, Anyway.
Oh, that's freaky to think about.
I feel like that needs to be like a episode.
And I was going to say too, that people who are in military situations, like they get desensitized by their environment. And so the more that they do it, the more they're just like, it's almost like playing a video game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like that.
It almost
I creates Mario
killers.
Kart and driving on the roads. I'm like, fuck these other cars.
That's how I am too.
Yes, no, you're correct.
Oh God! All right,
where are we in the story?
Where are we? Wait, that's the episode, folks.
My dog is my dog is chewing on a cord. 1 second. I got a puppy, everybody, and my dog doesn't know how to be a
dog,
normal dog yet. So 1 second.
So all good with the dog.
Dog is okay.
Saved your life. We're
Dog
back.
is alive, not electrocuted. 2 years later, 1987, he married his high school sweetheart, Moretta. She had a daughter, so
The year I was born.
Aw, 1987?
Yeah, I'm 34 years old, everybody. I'm old.
You're not
old at all.
Yeah.
She's 58, so I mean...
Holy shit, you look great. Who's your Botox and filler doctor? Is what I want to know.
I will never tell. I was going to say a really bad joke, but continue. 1987, he married his high school sweetheart. I can't say shit like that, Alexa. I can't. It was a stepfather to her daughter. So not only did he become a husband, but he then became a stepfather. But shortly after he started using drugs, he became addicted to crack cocaine. So this is pretty typical in the 80s. It was the drug of choice. And this is when he started breaking into homes and businesses to feed his habit. So he kind of did a bunch of different jobs here and there. He worked at the hardware store. He worked in fast food, which we'll get to. But he couldn't afford a crack addiction. And so he just started breaking into homes and businesses. And he was later arrested for breaking into a hardware store. He pled guilty and was only sentenced to 2 years of supervised probation.
Wow.
Yeah. First red flag of the justice system. Second red flag is while he was...
I hear that stuff so many times.
Right. All the time.
If you all want to know, I'm just going to put a plug in real quick.
Yeah.
Listen to my first episode of Catherine Mary Knight on the Chiller Queen podcast, episode 1. It goes over her entire insane history of how many times she could have gone to jail for a really long time, and they let her off the hook. and then she murdered someone.
Right.
And then literally the most grotesque, like cannibalized him, cooked him into stew, and hung his skin in like a hallway. Mm-hmm. Like the girl was nuts. Yeah. And she was let off by police I don't know how many times.
Yeah, they call her like the female Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Like
she's friggin' nuts.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Sounds delicious.
Right?
She cooked him and was attempting to feed him to his children. So
wow.
Audacity.
The audacity.
Yeah. Okay, anyway. It's just amazing how many people can get off the hook for things.
Right. Yeah. And that's like, it's just wild to me. You know, okay, breaking into a hardware store, not a big deal. But that bitch, like, come on.
That's like, I mean, we'll let it slide this time.
She didn't mean to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His skin just fell off. Okay.
Yeah, anyways. I didn't do it. So 2 years supervised probation. However, he never went to his PO meeting. So yeah, criminal. 1991, so 3 years later, he broke into his high school and the radio station that he used to work at. He stole recording equipment and other shit, and he ended up pawning them. He got caught in 1992 for not only those crimes, but for also breaking and entering into another business and into other homes. And then he was honorably discharged from the Navy because of his criminal activities. So, kind of a downward spiral. After he was honorably discharged from the Navy, his wife decided to divorce him shortly after, and then he moved to your neck of the woods, Charlotte, North Carolina. And that's when he bounced around job to job at different fast food restaurants.
Also, fun fact, when he was a DJ at the radio station, his name was, now I'm going to forget it.
I know, I don't remember his
name. It's like Night Rider. Was it Night Rider? It was...
Yeah, Night Rider.
Night Rider, because he was known for his, like, sexy, smooth voice, which is barf.
Yeah, so gross.
Have you heard his voice?
No, I'm just assuming it's disgusting. We don't do
Pretty sure it was barf and ew. Okay.
Pretty sure he was gross. Why? Because he murdered people? I don't know. That's how we do our research around here. We just assume things.
Yeah, we do. We never claim to be the expert. Yeah. So
it's all good. It's all good.
So, yeah, so at this point, he is working as a manager at Taco Bell, our favorite fine dining establishment. Fun fact,
he got a manager position.
Right? Especially with his background, like, come on.
Working on it.
He's really hitting it big, and in March of 1990, so we're just going to get right into the meat and potatoes.
Yep.
He murders 18-year-old Tashonda. How would you say that? Bethia. Okay. You knew I was going to ask.
I hate you.
Okay. Tashonda Bethia. She is a student from his former high school and supposedly one of his exes. It was kind of like they might have dated off and on. Mm-hmm. But he dumped her body in a lake. Also, this is all occurring in the same town. Several weeks later, her body was discovered, and he was actually questioned by police about the disappearance. The body showed signs of an attempted rape, but and questioned about the death, but he was never formally charged with anything. So there wasn't, I guess, enough DNA evidence or whatever it was, but that was just kind of pushed aside. Mm-hmm. Very horrible. So, about a year later, whoops. No, we're not at that point yet. Okay, so at this time, again, his marriage is falling apart. Sorry, I totally fucked up the Taco Bell thing. He was working as a chemical operator at this time, and this is where he gets fired from that position.
Yeah.
So now we're at Taco Bell.
Manager.
So a year and a month later, he breaks into the former high school station, I guess again, and this time he steals recording equipment, supposedly super expensive. He was caught trying to pawn these items. Oh, wait. Then he moves to Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yep.
Okay, I don't know why I feel like I'm confused, but I guess I'm not. So
no, we're right. You're right.
So a few months later, still 1991, he moves to Charlotte, North Carolina, and again, we're at Taco Bell, and things seem to be looking okay for him. He's not killing people right now.
Had a good year.
Fast forward May of 1992. So what is that?
A year and a half.
Well, like
half
a year.
November to
half
so
a
6
year.
months.
6 months-ish. He picks up 33-year-old
the month and year I was born.
Wow! What a great time to be alive. He's about to murder a bunch of people.
Oh my gosh, I'm old.
Claim that energy. So he picks up 33-year-old Sharon Nance, who was a known drug dealer and sex worker. She demanded payment for her services, as we can all assume what those were. And instead of paying her, he thinks of the next reasonable thing, which is to beat her to death and leave her body on some nearby railroad tracks. So her body is found a few days later, and no investigation ensues. Nothing happens.
Right.
1
month later.
He's a prostitute.
Right.
Drug addict.
She's not a person. She sells her body for money.
And she sells drugs.
Hello?
Yeah, if you want to get away with murder, just kill prostitutes and drug addicts.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Right.
So 1 month later, Wallace strangles, drinking word, raped and murders 20-year-old Shauna Hawk in her home.
Mm-hmm.
So she's 20 years old. Shauna worked for Wallace at Taco Bell while studying to become a paralegal. This guy goes on to attend her funeral.
Yes, he did.
He goes to her funeral.
No, he did.
He even brought Taco Bell to the funeral.
No,
Taco Bell
he did
fucking
not.
catered. No, that part we made up.
Like, I'm catering, everybody.
Yeah. He's like,
Fucking-
I'm sorry for your loss. Here's a chalupa. Terrible.
We're back.
Later, her family founded Mothers of Murdered Offspring, which I'm sorry, the name Mothers of Murdered Offspring.
I know, that's terrible. That's a
Mothers
group.
of Murdered Offspring.
I feel like they could have worked on that, but it's fine. It goes to a great cause. It's a Charlotte-based support group for parents of murdered children.
That's sad.
It is so sad. Shauna was known for her beauty, her grace, her kindness, and they even nicknamed her the Purple Princess, which they put on her tombstone. So this was like
That's sad.
a great girl.
Yeah.
It's really tragic. So, but he's not done. 3 days later, he strangles, rapes, and murders another Taco Bell employee, 24-year-old Audrey Spain.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just total trash. And her body was found 2.5 days later. So they're at this point, you'd think they'd be like, all these Taco Bell employees go missing. I think we might have a killer on the loose, but no.
Not yet.
Doesn't strike them as odd.
It could be from Taco Bell.
Yeah. Like, well,
what is the connection?
they
Somebody's
did order
done
a
the
party
with
pack,
Taco Bell.
and they got a lot of Diablo sauce. So.
Diablo sauce is the best.
Yeah.
So
Fire.
this guy's
Literal.
got taste.
That is awful. Okay, so I'm gonna need to cleanse my soul after
I
this.
have here. Hang on.
Oh, we got yeah.
Burn some sage, girl.
Sage.
You got it.
Oh, you know what I'm talking about?
We got hearts and everything.
I just keep some sage burning the whole time while I do this.
terrible. June, July. Okay, so we're 2 months later, August. Oh, no, sorry, we're a year later, August of 1993. So he gives it some time.
Wow.
But he strangles, rapes, and murders 20-year-old Valencia Jumper. And things kind of get a little twisted with this connection. So Valencia was a college student studying political science, but she was a good friend of Wallace's sister. Mm-hmm. So that's awful for his sister.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there was just, what I mean by that is, I'm sure there was a lot of guilt associated with it. You would think.
Like, what the fuck? You are murdering your sister's friend.
Yeah. So, after he murders her, he sets her on fire to cover his tracks, and both him and his sister attend the funeral. No catering this time. But they go as far to send the family condolences. Like, I just can't.
Well, she didn't know, but he knew 100%. Yeah.
I just can't imagine putting pen to paper or whatever they did, knowing you're responsible. But
right.
So how many victims do we have right now?
So far, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4.
Mm-hmm. 4. Victim number 4.
4 victims in a very short period of time.
Yeah, in a matter of 2 years so far. 3 years. Barely into 3 years. Mm-hmm. So sad. So, again, 1 month later, he arrived at the apartment of a 20-year-old Michelle Stinson, another college student, single mother of 2 boys, again, a friend of Wallace who worked at Taco Bell. He raped her and then later strangled her before stabbing her to death in front of her 3-year-old son.
No.
I mean,
did I read that? Yeah, I think I remember correctly too, and correct me if I'm wrong. He also strangled the 3-year-old boy, but the boy lived.
That's later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So
I'm confused.
So that was September. Now we're in October of 1993. And yes. Also, shout out to our other special guest.
Yeah, shout out to Golden.
If you guys want to know, Golden just entered the house.
Yes.
Yep, her name's Golden Girl. She channels Blanche's energy.
I love it.
If you want to look, she looks just like Blanche.
Oh, so adorable. I want one. I want one so bad. So, Blanche, get ready for this because
cover your ears.
October of 1993, Wallace has a son. I put by his wife, but at this point the wife is gone, so I guess this was by his girlfriend at the time, which he does have a girlfriend.
He does.
Anyways, moving on, February 94. So several months later, he's just like, you know what? I'm going to take a break from murder. And he is arrested for shoplifting, but police are still not making the connections with all of these Taco Bell related murders in Wallace.
Right.
So I don't know how or why that is, but.
Well, and I want to say too, it's in the early 90s.
Yeah.
They're, in Charlotte, North Carolina. The women primarily that are going missing or that are murdered are either, well, they are black, unfortunately. And I know we'll talk about that a little bit later. But it's like the police at the time, it's like they didn't even really care to look into it. They did not think that they had a serial killer at this time.
Yeah.
Even though, a serial killer is 3 or more?
Yeah.
We're way past that.
Yep. So,
a
few weeks later, we're still in February of 94. Shauna's mother, so this was an second victim, made an appeal to the public to find her daughter's killer. She's like, we've got to get this going. So, a day later, after she makes this
public
announcement, one fucking day later, Wallace strangles, rapes, and murders 25-year-old Vanessa Mack in her apartment, Again, Wallace knows this victim through his sister. She was a medical escort at a local hospital and had 2 young daughters. So
sad.
I feel, honestly, Shauna's mother coming out and saying that had to be the biggest fucking blow after saying, you know what, I'm going to reopen this, reopen these wounds, and then that happened.
Yeah, and no fault to her, because she didn't do anything wrong, but it clearly triggered him to be like, you know what, bitch? Yeah. Here I go. I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to kill someone else.
What a fucking psycho.
Yeah, he's just ruthless. There's no control.
Well, and like they said about Scorpios, they're dark. Like, people are dark, but Scorpios are pitch black. And this guy was fucked up.
Just like the Taco Bell Diablo packet. Pitch black. Taco Bell is going to sue the fuck out of us. Okay, so.
You guys really are like sisters. Yeah. I don't know if you know this, but you guys like finish each other's sentences. And it's like really cute.
We try.
Taco Bell isn't going to sue
It's like
us.
You know what the other is going to say, and you're just like, pitch black. You got it.
We do that. We have that telepathy thing. We have that telepathy.
That's true soul sisters right there.
Yes, sinister soul sisters.
Oh, see what I'm saying right there. Love it.
Where are we? Okay, so yes. So that was February. We're moving on to March. We're just going month by month with all this. Wallace,
this guy's like on a roll.
Yes. Robs, strangles, rapes, and murders Betty Baucom 1 day after her birthday, and he is just with it on the timing of all of this too. Mm-hmm. So Betty,
take a drink.
Betty and Wallace's girlfriend were co-workers at this place called Bojangles, and after the murder, Wallace took many valuables and left with her car. He pawned everything but the car, which he left in a shopping center. Betty also had 1 daughter around the age of 3.
Yeah.
But he's not stopping here, because 4 days later, Wallace returns to Betty's apartment complex, knowing he knew some couple there, knowing the guy would be at work. He went to murder the girlfriend, Brandy Henderson, who, 18 years old, high school student, also a mother. This is the one I was thinking of that I thought you were going to say.
Oh, okay.
This is graphic, so
yeah, this is bad.
Trigger warning. He raped her while she held her baby and then strangled them both. And this is the one where the baby survived.
Okay.
Yeah. So the baby did survive, thankfully. And then he left with anything valuable they had in the home. That's like staring past somebody. That's soulless.
That's just evil.
That's soulless.
Yeah, that's like purely has absolutely no empathy, no emotion.
Right.
Like, yeah. I wonder what the fuck went wrong with this guy. Was it crack? He's crack addiction?
That's a great question.
Triggered some fucking weird shit in his brain?
Yeah. This isn't because he had to wear girly clothes.
No. And we'll talk about the trial a little bit. They dive into mental illness and all that. So from his childhood, but honestly, I don't know. We talk a lot about serial killers and we want to pinpoint it. I feel like people just want to pinpoint it on the childhood. That's what they want to. That's what they want to pinpoint it on. They want to say, well, this is what happened to them as a kid, and unfortunately it groomed them as an adult. But you know what? I'm sorry. He had a roof over his head, and he wasn't beaten by his mom. Yeah, she was vindictive and manipulative and yelled at him and made, sister and him hit each other. But, it wasn't terrible. We've listened to so many other stories that are way worse. So maybe it was the crack cocaine, or maybe, who knows? People are just fucking evil. Yeah.
And I just gotta say too, like, I grew up in a really hard childhood, and I'm very open about this. Like, I have dealt with a lot growing up, but like, I never had this tendency to, like, yes, I do struggle with some of my childhood trauma, but it's like a lot of people do. And it doesn't turn you into a serial killer. I feel like there are some things that can obviously turn you into a serial killer based on certain childhood things, but I also think that some people just have these psychological, like neurological issues that just like prevent them from feeling emotion. And that's probably one of the strangest things ever, because if you don't feel emotion, you don't really care.
Right.
Like have empathy with other people, you know?
Right.
So it's like sometimes that doesn't necessarily need to be created because of childhood. It's just something you are born with.
Yeah. And
psychologically.
I think there's something to say too. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, like, or you just you go on certain types of like chemical dependencies that completely change the neurological balances in a person's brain and can like snip off the serotonin and all these different types of things that happen in our brain, and we just like can't recover from that. I mean, that's why there's a lot of fucking meth heads out there that like kill animals and do weird stuff. It's like,
yeah. I mean, and almost to that point, I think obviously there are things that some people go through that they need external help or like addictions that you can't quit on your own and things like that. But for the most part, once you become an adult, I have a really hard time with people who blame their parents for the way that they are. And I'm like, I get it. And I know that that's like what you lived. But now you're an adult and it's
you make your own choices.
It's time for you to decide.
Don't be a victim.
Like if you want to deal with that trauma or ignore it and be a fuck up just like them. So
yeah, and kind of like Avery, what you were saying, like I agree. Like I had a rough childhood. I have a lot of childhood trauma, but I'm not a fucking serial killer or a crackhead
that we know of.
I mean, I might be. Better watch out.
Yeah.
But no,
I got into true crime podcasting.
Right.
I'm researching.
Who would suspect a true crime podcaster? I see what you're up to.
Yeah, I'm smart.
Come on to you guys. Your conspiracies and shit.
Yeah, right.
But no,
watch out.
Totally. I mean, yeah, and like Alexa said, we'll dive into how he blames his childhood for a lot of this. But so at this point, let's see, what year? We're in March of 94. And police have finally caught on that maybe something isn't right. They increased their patrols after the last two murders occurred, specifically near this apartment complex. So, however, despite the upped authority, Wallace still manages to rob, strangle, and stab to death 38 times to be exact in the stomach and chest. Deborah Slaughter. Ironic last name. Yeah. She is 35 years old, mother to an 18-year-old, also a co-worker of Wallace's girlfriend. Her body was found 4 days after the previous murder.
God.
So he's not slowing things down by any means.
Guys, like, it's almost like he is getting cocky.
Yeah.
And isn't getting any type of attention. And so he's just getting like ruthless.
Yeah.
Because usually you have serial killers who have a little bit of time between because they're very meticulous on how they do certain things. And he's just kind of like going after it.
No.
And I think it's because like he hasn't really gotten much from the police or anything.
No.
You know?
They haven't done anything except questioning him on his first murder. And it was like, oh, you didn't do it? All right, well, have a great day.
Yeah, and that was back in 1990, and now we're in 94.
So it's crazy. So now we move on to the arrest and the trial.
Finale.
Big finale.
Big finale. So, March 13th, 1994, he was finally arrested. They took him back into the interview room where he confessed over 12 hours to murdering 10 different women in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Let me add this. He enjoyed a Snickers bar and a Coke while he did it.
He did.
Gross.
Typical.
Yep, he did.
Typical fucking serial killer.
Right. He also confessed to an 11th murder, which was his first murder back in 1990. And this was prior to being in Charlotte. This was back in his hometown of Barnwell, South Carolina. All of his murders he described in great detail. He knew exactly what the women looked like, exactly what they were wearing, exactly where they were, and he described all of the details, how he raped every single one of them, how he strangled every single one of them, how he then robbed them and made sure that they were dead.
Wow.
Apparently, the Charlotte police chief got a lot of shit for this whenever he finally got arrested because 10 women had been murdered, 10 black women had been murdered, shall I say, and so the city was pissed. They said, okay, it took you this long, it took you 2.5 years to finally arrest someone and to arrest the guy who killed all these women. The police chief came to say, sorry, we just didn't have enough evidence, and denied all accusations about it being a racial situation, even though it did kind of peak an uproar. There was some protesting involved. So, yeah. The police chief again denied all of those accusations and stated that he didn't even know that there was a serial killer in Charlotte, North Carolina, murdering these black women until the early days of March 1994, and he was arrested on March 13th. So you're saying for 10, you didn't know, and then all of a sudden, 10 days later, you find a serial killer and you're going to arrest him?
Yeah.
So...
See, that plays into a lot of the issues that I have with the justice system, where it's like you characterize people and then you brush it aside if it's not something that is like what
good
you
enough.
deem important,
Yeah.
you know?
Right.
And it's like everybody should be like, I hear so many cases of like people who died from a gang or drugs or something like that, and it's like it doesn't ever get like followed through with,
right?
But then it's somebody who is, you know, maybe like a teenager or somebody who's from like a normal environment or whatever, and they get a lot of attention,
right?
Because it's out of the norm, but it just like depending on their character is depending on how much they'll put their effort into an investigation.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like, yeah. And in that era, I can totally see how that could be, you know, pushed aside.
It's the same with the sex worker status. Like,
Absolutely.
well, because she was a prostitute, it's like, well, I'm sure she
deserved it.
still had a family. And I'm sure that, you know, she
People
has
cared about
fucking
her.
feelings.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
and a lot of these people are struggling with their
there's a
own
reason
issues.
why.
Yeah.
And so they're dealing with, like, regardless, we have a serial killer out there. You know,
exactly.
It's like...
Well,
so that person shouldn't be out there doing that.
Yeah.
That's the other side of it is, okay, even if you don't care about her and you don't respect what she does, whatever, aren't you worried that there's a murderer?
Yeah, are you worried about the person who did it? Like, what?
Yeah.
Take her out of the equation. Like,
yeah. It doesn't make sense all around, but...
So, following years, his trial was delayed, unfortunately, due to DNA evidence and jury selection, as well as he was kind of being nitpicky on where he wanted the trial to occur. Apparently, he would say, and I don't know if this is true or not, but I read him kind of down the Reddit path,
Reddit hole.
Reddit hole.
Yes.
It's like the rabbit hole, but the Reddit hole.
I love that. You need to
hole.
put that on a t-shirt. That is genius.
I went down the Reddit hole.
Yes.
Yes, you definitely should. They had said that he was getting like premonitions from God that that the courthouse was going to be blown up. And that's why they didn't have the trial that date and that time.
Wait, who said that?
Henry Louis Wallace. So the person who was arrested, the murderer. So the trial was delayed for 2 years. Number one, of DNA evidence, jury selection, but also because any time that the trial was supposed to take place, he would say that he had these premonitions from God that the courthouse was going to be blown up. So they
delayed it because of that?
Right. So they would try to
they believed him?
Right. So they would try to find like another courthouse to take him to and to take the trial to, but there weren't any available. So that's why it took 2 years for him to go through a trial.
I'm going to remember that next time I get in trouble. Listen, I'm not doing God here.
God is telling me this courthouse.
And why is it always that these people talk to God?
Right.
Yeah, they're like,
always.
God told me.
Always.
Because I speak to God because I'm a serial killer. So I speak to God.
In between my murders, I penciled God in, and he said,
he told me
this place is going to get blown to smithereens. We're going to move this,
and I'm going to believe it.
Somewhere else.
Is that wild?
Yeah.
So the trial finally began 2 years later in September 1996. His attorney argued for a life sentence, claiming that he suffered from mental illnesses and that his murders weren't premeditated or deliberated. So therefore, it did not warrant a first-degree murder. The FBI said, quote, if he elected to become a serial killer, he was going about it the wrong way. Mr. Wallace always seemed to take 1 step forward and 2 steps back. He would take items and put them in the stove to destroy them by burning them and then forget to turn the stove on. So that just kind of shows you he was a little messy in all different areas, and essentially that's how they caught him, was the DNA. The prosecuting attorney argued for the death penalty, but again, his attorney kept arguing for a life sentence. She brought up his childhood multiple times, stating that he suffered from mental and physical abuse from his mother, grandmother, and his sister, even though him and his sister were tight. Lies. All about the lies. So, keep in mind, the Charlotte, North Carolina Police Department couldn't get the job done, and they couldn't find him prior to him being arrested. So they had to
Apparently, I hear that's a common thing around here.
Is it?
It's actually a South Carolina and a North Carolina thing, apparently.
So what you're saying is if we ever need... So you're saying if we ever need to murder somebody, move to
do it in South Carolina first.
Okay.
But if you have to cross the borders, go to North Carolina. South Carolina is the worst, but North Carolina, it's trying to come around.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Now we know.
The more you know.
Now you know. Oh, and Florida. Florida's a great place. They have a lot of swamps.
So,
fantastic
what about
gas bodies?
Here, the Ozarks.
Yeah, Ozarks. We've got
rolling mountains
and lakes.
You ain't finding anyone.
That's what I'm saying.
I would probably take the swamps. I feel like swamps is our best bet.
Yeah,
a lot of people don't want to go into the swamps. A lot of alligators, a lot of things going on.
Mud underneath, like sucking the body. Okay, I don't know.
Yeah,
just making shit up.
Now you're making shit up. So like I said, the FBI, so Charlotte, North Carolina asked the FBI for help because they couldn't solve the case, right? Although they only knew that there was a serial killer for 10 days.
Even though they literally took place at the same fucking Taco Bell.
Same fucking Taco Bell.
They couldn't figure it out. But anyways,
right.
FBI to the rescue.
They asked the FBI for help, but the FBI said, no, we don't think this is a serial killer, so we're not going to help you. So again,
what?
Remember, right, serial killers 3 or more murders. Come the time, March 1994, he had murdered 8 people. And then he finally murdered his last 2 people in the early days of March. So it's like...
And over half of them worked at Taco Bell.
Over half of them worked at Taco Bell.
And the other half associated with his sister.
Right. But there was no serial killer.
Like, these are some dumb motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Beyond.
This is why you need online sleuths.
Yes. This is why you need us to solve the case.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
pretty much a detective.
Yeah, we pretty much all are detectives. That's all we do every day.
Investigator.
I mean, do you know how many true crime shows I have binge watched and have analyzed?
Yes.
I'm pretty much a detective.
Exactly.
Yes. I don't know the law.
I mean, you think about these detectives, and they're only on the cases that they're working on. I've been on every case around the country. Okay,
you're overwhelmed with one. I'm binge watching 50 different documentaries now.
In the last 24 hours, I have gone over 50 serial killers. Okay, and you one case.
You have one.
It's such a good point, though, honestly. I mean, I don't understand why there's no credibility in that, but...
We should add it to our resume.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much that is on my resume. I have a pretty interesting resume. It's just more like, hey, I like to talk about conspiracy theories and true crime, like... not looking for a job, but like just showing you.
Just give me money.
Is. They're like, ma'am, this is a clothing boutique. How is this irrelevant?
And like a lot of people are into true crime. I mean, it can sell a lot.
Yeah, I can sell it.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Oh, so January 7th, 1997, he was finally found guilty on only 9 of the murders. And he was sentenced to 9 death sentences. Shortly after he was found guilty, he made a statement to the victims. And he said, quoted, "None of these women, none of your daughters, mothers, sisters, or family members in any way deserved what they got. They did nothing to me that warranted their death."
Oh, well, thanks for that. Stupid.
Yeah, that was really sweet.
Yeah.
So
I feel like you really care.
Yeah.
So kind.
Like, thank you for that statement. It probably wasn't even worth the statement.
Yeah, what the fuck was the point of that?
Thank you for all of the emotion and the love and that quote.
Yeah, nobody deserved it. That's it. That's all.
Right. He was definitely a cheerleader in high school because that's some pageant bullshit right there. That's disgusting.
Fucking drama queen.
All right. The following year, June 5th, 1998, he married a former prison nurse, and they got married right next to the execution chamber where he was going to be sentenced to die.
It's true love, Avery.
True love. Get on with it.
Wait, I'm sorry. He married the prison nurse?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. A prison nurse. Next to the execution chamber.
Yeah, like they held the ceremony next to the death room.
I want to know more about this nurse.
Well, she's clearly...
She goes to nursing school.
She
says, I'm going to work at the prison. Probably find the love of my life.
Right. Apparently.
Then I'm so into him, we're going to get married to the execution chamber.
It turns me on. Don't ask questions.
It really is like a love story.
Yes.
Oh my god. So bad.
So it makes you wonder what kind of I don't even know what to say on that. That's like,
Yeah, do we even call her a human? Probably not.
No, she's
Prob's
a dumb
not.
bitch.
Yeah.
she's a dumb biatch.
Dumb bitch.
Yeah, she's
She
a dumb biatch.
apparently she was a prison nurse at the prison, and then she quit or retired or whatever. She was about 20 years older than him. So at this time he's like 33.
I mean, you gotta get what you can get, you know?
Yeah, right. He was 33, so she was like 53 or in her 50s. So
Well,
yeah, maybe she saw
you don't want to get done in the ass. You just go for the nurse, you know?
You know, maybe she was just tired of the old bull and ready for the young calf. I don't know.
You know, right? And like that bad boy, you know, like
Right.
Yeah, but he had
Yeah,
a face tat or something, and she's like, that.
That guy. That's who I want.
She's like, you like Taco Bell? I like Taco Bell. What kind of sauce do you get?
Diablo.
oh
Pitch
my
black.
god, you're the Taco Bell killer?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so hungry. That sounds so good. So into you right now.
Like, they're literally in their ceremony. He's about to die, and she's like, you know what would be great right now? Some Taco Bell.
Chalupa.
Taco Bell.
A fucking chalupa.
Cheesy
My last
gordita crunches
meal.
are my favorite. I do. I
I won't lie. That was like my jam at 2:30, 3 in the morning. Fucking Taco Bell.
do. Yo, fuck yeah. Oh my
now I
god.
can't have it. It just goes right through me.
Yeah, it's bad.
Is that like a 30-year-old problem or?
It's bad.
Okay, so I have
Especially the next day.
I know I'm talking about this on a podcast, but it's definitely just never sit well with me after the age of 30. I'm like, nope, can't have it. Got to
totally
plan
fine.
for it.
That's
Got to plan for it.
you know, sometimes we all need a good cleanse, and there's the enema, and then there's Taco Bell. So it's just really, do you want to
Exactly.
enjoy the experience or not? Because
Yeah.
I at least enjoy Taco Bell.
Yeah, fuck the juice.
Yeah, I
cleanse.
enjoy it the beginning.
Yeah.
But you can go to any Taco Bell, and so it's almost like it's been ingrained in their recipe.
Oh, for sure.
You know?
They're sprinkling it on at the end. They're like, and
Exactly.
a dash of
Exactly.
diarrhea.
Like, I don't know what's in their recipe, but it's not good.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Stack
it's delicious, but it's not good.
Exactly.
Right.
Delicious,
Right.
but
Delicioso.
the after effects, side effects.
Yes.
They should have a side effects on their commercials, you know?
Or like a warning. Like
Like
we
the
have
fucking-
to put fucking disclaimers on our podcast.
The medicine ones.
Yeah, why did they not put disclaimers on the
Before
food?
eating.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, there should be people frolicking in a beautiful garden while they're talking about all the side effects they talk about.
They're like, may cause chronic back pain and diarrhea. You're going to hate your life tomorrow.
Well, I think you just won the audition for the commercial.
Taco Bell, hire me. I'm your girl.
Exactly.
Oh, God.
God.
Wow.
So this guy, let's finish this up. This guy continues to appeal his case over and over and over again, but his appeals are consistently denied.
What is he trying to appeal? Like it's
The
very
evidence.
obvious.
He's trying to say it wasn't his DNA.
Well, and he's also trying to claim the mental
the mental instability. So
That's
he
like
doesn't have to
heavily
die.
He wants to go to an insane asylum and get.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he
A little bit
doesn't
better.
want to die. He doesn't want to be executed, and so that's his main reason for the appeal.
I'm just gonna say, if I ever have to go to prison forever, like I might as well die.
Right.
Like, I don't care to live anymore. What's the
I
point?
agree.
Like I would literally just be like, okay, I'll take the death penalty. It's fine. Like
Yes.
no, I don't
I
care to deal
1000%
with life anymore.
Yeah.
Like
Like,
especially
there's no point.
you almost get killed in prison and shit. Like people
Gotta
are nuts
watch
in
your
prison.
back.
What's the point?
You're eating fucking smiley face tater tots. Like, no.
Yeah, it's like the worst food, and I know because I've been in jail. Okay,
Oh,
it's the I know
tea.
I've been in jail.
Yeah.
I've been in jail. I was in jail because I had minor consumption of alcohol.
Oh,
Wait, they actually put you like in real jail?
Yeah, because I did it a couple times in a row. Like, I was like, I went to a party and then I went to another party right afterwards and got busted twice in the same night. And then I was a little young partier. I went hard quick, but learned because right when I went to jail, I was only in jail for 5 days, but that was enough for me.
Yeah.
And I was like, I will never come back here.
Yeah.
If I had to spend the rest of my life in here, it would be terrible. Their food is like someone shit on a plate and then wanted to feed it to you. And then if you get any dessert, everyone wants your dessert. And you're kind of like, I can't really tell you no.
Okay, wait.
So here's my dessert.
What is prison dessert?
Yeah, like a honey bun.
Yeah. Well, it's like, I don't even know what it is. I don't even know what half the food is. Because it is like someone literally threw up and then it was put into a pile of something and then you have to eat that.
Ew.
It's like, no, it's probably the worst food that you could ever imagine. And so you definitely, like, I didn't even really want to eat it all, but like, you obviously can't starve to death. But what I'm saying is like, that kind of life is, that's why I say, I'm like, dude, I would rather just be like, I'm good. Like, just give me the death penalty. Just make it quick
way out here. I'm going to marry my sweetie next door and then
my nurse. I'm going to marry my nurse and then I'm out. Like, shout.
Wow. Well,
that's crazy.
Yeah, I'm really just throwing it all out there for you guys today.
Hey, we love it.
Yeah, we love it.
We love it. And
I'm an open book.
I'm sorry you had to go through that. That sounds fucking terrible.
5 days of fucking jail?
A mystery pudding or whatever it was.
Yeah, whatever it is.
Hey, I got a lot of funny experiences, but hey, it provides character.
Yeah.
It's a learning experience.
Makes you who you are today.
Look at me now, everybody.
Yes. Thriving on the Something Sinister podcast.
I haven't been to jail in a long time. I'm good.
Oh, I love it.
Thriving.
She has dope in her Instagram name, but we don't care. We've moved past the criminal life. We accept her for who she is.
Thank you, ladies. That's why I came on the podcast.
Yes.
Oh, God, right?
No, it's fantastic. It honestly, and this is not to condone, I want to stress this is not to condone any sort of like drinking or underage drinking, but you would be surprised by how many people have that in their history and you just either don't know about it or they didn't get caught. So there's no judgment.
Right.
Of course. And from my hometown, that's all we had to do.
Same.
I mean, there was nothing to do.
Same.
But have fun and party.
Yep.
That's it. That's it.
I grew up in a small town. Provide shit for kids to do, okay?
I'm leaking wine. Speaking of drinking.
It's okay. We've been drinking for a while.
Yeah.
We've been drinking
almost
for
got
a while.
A whole bottle down, so that's good.
Yes. Go ahead.
So he.
Oh, we're not done?
No, we got 2 sentences. 2. He confessed to killing other women. He wasn't found guilty for. He confessed to killing 20 women.
Wow.
Even though he was only found guilty for 9, but we know he killed at least 10. And currently he's still alive.
Yep.
There is no execution date yet.
So
that's the story of Henry Louis Wallace.
Welcome to North Carolina.
Is he in North Carolina?
Yes.
He's serving time. Maybe I should go visit him.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe you should.
Do podcast number 2.
Hell
Part
yes.
interview.
Oh
Part 2.
My God, do it.
Yes, please do it.
Okay, I've actually had this desire to go and interview serial killers?
Us too.
We have talked about it.
We have.
And when I say we've had the opportunity, we've had kind of the idea of an opportunity.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's a really heavy thing. And so we're treading lightly, but I would do it in a heartbeat. I would just be
100%.
afraid to ask inappropriate questions because I do joke a lot. You know what I mean? Like,
we'd be like, oh, so you're the Taco Bell Strangler? So do you get Taco Bell for free?
yeah. So what was your go-to order?
Okay,
like
that
the Baja
might be
Blast
the
or
best
not?
thing that has ever come
Yeah.
to interviewing ever with podcasters.
Yeah.
Like normally you get those researchers from like Dateline and they're just like, well, why would you do that?
Yeah.
And you're just like, yeah, but like, do you like Diablo packets or do you like the hot sauce packet? Like,
And
what
what's
was your
opinion
favorite?
of Fire, because it's a little too chunky for me personally, but I'm curious your input.
Do you like the number 7? Why did you take the number 7 off of your guys' menu? Because I really like the Taco Bell pizzas that you guys have. That's just me actually expressing the fact that I don't like they took that off of the menu.
Right. No,
I really like the
absolutely.
Taco Bell pizzas.
See,
Right.
yes, that's what I'm concerned about.
Us talking.
No,
on
but like
questions.
that would be great. Like
I mean-
I would sign up to listen to that interview versus any other interview.
Right.
And then they might even just be like, I want to be your friend. And then you'd be like, this is awkward. But like I'm friends with a bunch of serial killers, you
Yeah.
know?
Like, yeah, me and Henry were
Like,
tight.
I talked to Ted Bundy the other day. We pen pal.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah, he's got my picture.
He's kind of into me.
It's a thing.
But like, you know, I just tell him what he wants to hear because
Jeffrey Dahmer
Yeah.
told me personally that if he were to make me into a milkshake, it would be a chocolate with cherry on top. So fuck all you guys, we're besties.
so I'm gonna take that as a compliment, okay? Because like I like cherries and stuff. So
Guys, we are fucked up.
we are.
So,
Okay, but that's okay.
Are we through with the census or are we down like half a cent? Okay, closing the iPad.
Done.
Wow, okay, we made it through. Henry,
Lewis.
Wallace. Got it. The
Henry
Taco
Louis
Bell
Wallace.
Strangler.
Taco Bell Strangler. And thank you to Chiller Queen Podcast.
Yes.
Avery, we're calling her Dope Cook because that is what she is. So thank you
Yeah.
for joining the show.
absolutely.
And
Thanks,
tell
ladies, for having me on.
for sure, we've got to do this again. I'm putting it out there that this
In the universe.
In the universe. So tell
Just
us.
throw it out there. If somebody catches it,
Yep.
just pull it back.
Embrace it.
Oh,
Eat
oh,
it.
I got it. Oh,
Oh,
yep, I got it.
good. Tell us where we can find you and your podcast and everything that you're doing.
Yes.
So you can find me on my personal account, A Very Dope Cook, or Avery Dope Cook, but I'm A Very Dope Cook.
I
so,
love that.
Yes. So you can find me on my personal account, A Very Dope Cook, but that's not really where I do my podcasting much. So you can find me at Chiller Queen Podcast on Instagram. I am in the current process of building my website, so I don't have a website yet, but you can also listen to my podcast anywhere that you listen to podcasts.
Boom. And you're on YouTube also, right?
So I am on YouTube. I just started the channel, so it's not got a lot yet, but you can also find my premium content on Rockfin. So if you go to Chiller Queen Podcast, you can find a link in my bio where you can get my premium content, which has early episode drops, bonus content, live streaming, all the good stuff. And plus, I'm just going to put a little plug that you don't only get access to my content when you sign up to Rockfin, you also get like everybody's content on the platform. It's almost like a Netflix for creators. So it's
Cool.
really amazing. You get access to everyone's for one subscription price. And it has like open-minded, free thinkers, like sports. It has all different kinds of genres. It's pretty freaking amazing.
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah,
That's
really
really
cool.
neat. I haven't heard of that, so we'll have to look into it.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
all right. Well, we are on Patreon, so we want to thank our patrons for supporting the podcast. We've got a few new followers on there. We do have a sponsor,
We do.
so we'll thank them really quick. Color Up CBD for skincare, pet products. They are amazing.
ColorUpCo.com and use code Sinister20 for 20% off.
All right. Well, Avery, thank
Love
you
it.
so much again.
Yes.
This has been so much fun.
So much fun.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. Well, see you next time.
Stay sinister.
Ciao.
Bye.